was watching because he wears like the trunks or
Yeah.
whatever. So funny. It was so everyone started laughing. So today we are going to go into the holidays. It is coming up, guys. The big holiday season. You have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, first of January 1st, whatever you celebrate. But there's a lot of partying, a lot of celebrations going on right now, which means a lot of foods.
A lot of foods, a lot of drinks.
Yes. So how do we navigate that and still be normal and not feel like we're the person with the stinky tilapia and asparagus at the Christmas table? There is a way around it, guys. There's don't be that person.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary.
Yeah, I think there's a happy medium. We don't want to be the person that just eats everything until they're sick and feels like absolute crap the next day. But we also don't want to be the person that's literally weighing the asparagus like on the little island in the kitchen while everyone's eating pumpkin pie. We don't want to be that person. I wouldn't want to be that person. I'm not that person. You shouldn't be either, unless I guess if you're prepping for, I guess there's only a few shows that there would be an exception for that you actually have to prep through.
Yeah, it'd be like the Arnold.
And then there are like some shows starting in February, just a few, but those are just the exception, the rare exception. So if you're one of those people, you probably have to do all those things. But for everyone else, you don't. Good news, you don't.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's so many ways around it. So we'll go over those ways of navigating it. If you guys have questions, leave it in the comments on YouTube. We'll do it live so we can get to them. So, but one of the main things is, of course, is going to be planning ahead. How are you going to tackle that day?
Yeah. So are you hosting the dinner? Are you going to someone else's house? And are these people, are they fitness people?
Yeah.
It makes a big difference, because I think if I went over your guys' house for Thanksgiving versus if I went over, let's say, my parents' house for Thanksgiving, I think the foods are going to be a little different variety.
Yeah. And my family, my sister, I just got off the phone with my sister right now. She's like, "Are you coming over for tamales on Christmas?" I was like, "Yeah, probably not coming this year." But the thing is, when she asked, I know they're going to make a side of chicken breast for me too, so I get the best of both, so you just make sure your family, they're aware and supportive. So
yeah, but even the planning ahead, it doesn't even have to be, as I guess you're getting your own side dish, which lucky you. It can even be things as getting in the workouts ahead of time, and making sure that that's all set up. So let's kind of go into, let's say it's the week of the holiday dinner, the celebration. You might be one, might be two of them. How would you tell your athletes, or even for you, let's say you are prepping for a show, how would you go about the week leading up to Thanksgiving? And when I say prepping for a show, I don't mean like in 12 weeks. Maybe I should rephrase that. So let's say you're bodybuilding, you want to say healthy and fit, but
yeah, so maybe not anything critical like 4 weeks out.
Yes,
so
because I was like, wait a minute, that would totally just kind of erase what I said in the beginning. So yeah.
Well, there's gonna be, so that's the thing, is there's gonna be a lot of different ways, and this is something actually I went over some of my check-ins this morning with, is there's gonna be different ways of navigating it for different types of people too. So and Ashley, for example, she's not gonna really care that much to have chicken all the way until the day of type of thing, and then on the day of be a little bit looser, right? But then there's some people, it's like the week, it's like a week, your family's in town for the whole week, you're there for 5 days. And you really are, you've been killing it the whole year. You've been 100% on your diet. And you're like, I just want a little bit of a break. Well, that person, hey, maybe give them a diet break. Maybe this is the week where, hey, just eat intuitively this week and, make sure to get your protein in and make sure not to overdo it. But let's just not even look at the calories for the whole week, but let's be smart. Usually those people who have been dedicated like that and have been, crazy on plan are not going to go over so far where they gain more than a pound. And who cares? A pound, we'll lose it in a week. Who cares? Have fun and enjoy that week. But mentally, it gives you a really good reset. So why not have that week, especially if you're someone who can kind of eyeball and do it. What I find is that when I have athletes that are like in the off season, who are really good in their off season, when they eyeball, they usually lose weight. They usually eat less. It's like it's a weird thing.
They
it's like
underestimate the calorie underestimate the calories that they think they had probably.
No, you're You're right. Overestimate. You're right. Overestimate. Because like I have a couple girls right now that are at 3,000 plus calories. I mean, I have more than a couple. I have a few girls that are like, 16 weeks in their off season, they've ramped their calories all the way up, and they're like sick of eating. So when I say, hey, eat intuitively for a week, they'll usually lose a pound, and they enjoyed Christmas and they have a good mental reset. So it's different for every scenario. And maybe you're someone who's a little bit more sensitive. You're not at that stage, you're dieting down, but you're like, I still want to do Christmas. Well, okay, if you need that mental break, the day of, let's say Christmas, you eat intuitively that day. Don't even look at the calories, but don't go crazy and just kind of enjoy everything. Do higher protein portions, things like that. That's going to be fine too. Or if you're someone who wants to be diligent. So you can see there's just so many different ways based on the person's dedication, where they're at in their prep, how sensitive they are to gaining body fat back. If they just did a show, you're going to be a little more sensitive to rebounding. So then you could also just do macro tracking that day. Just follow your menu plan and follow your macros that day. You can also, skip all the carbs and all the fats in your early meals and just add them into your dinner meal, and just combine one big meal. That one is like the more, hey, I want to be dedicated, but I want to be free, best option. And you just add them all into one meal. It doesn't matter when you eat, guys. If the only meal that I really care about is that post-workout to get the nutrition in, like after workout. But the rest of the day, hey, you can even fast all day till that big and have like a huge portion of meat or whatnot. So different for everyone, as you could see, and you got to find where you fit on that and what you need to make you feel best.
Also, something to note is be aware of how, I guess, educated you are on estimations of food. Luckily for your clients, they underestimated, right? Underestimated, but most people will. No, they overestimated. Yeah. Oh my God. We are sorry. We are, hopefully you guys know what we're trying to say.
The ones that are eating a lot of food will overestimate. The ones that are eating a little bit of food will underestimate. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yes. So if you're not aware of nutrition labels and your macros, and you're probably going to underestimate the calories in the food. So that is just something to note. And that's something that it's a personal thing. What's your experience like? I think my eyes are pretty trained for ounces and grams and carbs and fats. And so, yeah, I weigh with my eyes a lot of time.
Yeah. Especially now, your eyes are so straight now too. You're probably you're probably dead on.
I'm to the decimal point.
You're
now.
like my fitness pal with your eyes. They're straightened out.
It's like a scan. I'm half AI now. So let's say the day has come. It is holiday. It's the holiday dinner we've all been waiting for. Now, previously throughout the week, as Adam mentioned, you can restrict a little bit if you want to, leading up. Very, very slight restrictions, like on that day of, pulling back carbs and fats. If you just want your first meal of the day, you wake up, you're hungry, maybe withhold carbs or fats, save them for dinner, whatever you got to do. And like I previously mentioned as well, I like to get in as much workouts as I can before Christmas, because a lot of times it's closed that day and who wants to work out on Christmas? But it is the day. It is a Christmas. It's time to eat. Okay. So what do we do when we're eating? We want to make sure that we're eating smart, right? We want to get the most bang for our buck. So eating food in a correct order might be a good idea. Because if you're one of those people that, you could eat pumpkin pie forever or whatever, you might eat that pumpkin pie first. And next thing you know, you're 1,800 calories deep and you didn't even start eating your actual dinner yet. So, that sucks. So what I like to do is make sure first and foremost that day leading up until dinner, I'm hydrated, because a lot of times we can mistake some hunger for dehydration for hunger. So just make sure that you're hydrated. That's also going to help keeping your portions smaller, because if you're full of water, you're probably not going to eat as much as you could. But also keep in mind too, hey, those taste buds, they're a little slower than your stomach, meaning your stomach is actually full a lot of times, but you don't realize it because it tastes so good. You just want to keep eating more. So that's why I say there's a little bit of lag on the taste buds. It's like you just want to keep eating. But in reality, if you actually paused and like stood up and realize, whoa, I'm actually like full, like I don't need any more. But on your plate, there will be carbs, there will be fats, there will be proteins. So drink that water first. Okay. But then go for the healthy stuff first if you can, in bigger quantities, and save the higher calorie or calorie dense items, the desserts, the fun little trinkets on the side of your plate. Save those last in smaller amounts. Keep bigger portions for the healthy stuff, smaller for the less healthy. Seems kind of obvious, but we all need that reminder sometimes.
Yeah. You know what's funny is when you say that, it reminds me, I was a fitness manager of like a 24-hour fitness back when I was like 21. So this is like 21 years ago at this point. And I still remember this conversation I had with this trainer that was working with me. His name was Pendar. And he said, the same thing you said, basically, like the eyes are like they're slower than your stomach and your eye taste buds, basically. How did you say your eye taste buds? Yeah, your eye taste buds basically are bigger. So he's like, you ever realize that you're going to finish whatever portion they give you and be totally happy with? It's like cake. He's like, so if you have a small portion of cake at a restaurant and they give it to you, you finish the whole thing and you're happy with it. You're satiated with it. If they give you a big piece of cake, the same cake, it's big, you still finish the whole cake and you're happy and you're satiated.
Not any more happy. It's like that. The size of it doesn't make you any less or more happy.
Yeah. He's like, so it has nothing to do with like total volume of calories. It just has to do with the taste of it. So he's like, so basically it was like a eye-opening moment for me. I was like, yeah, so I started thinking, what's the minimum to get that maximum benefit, right?
One crumb.
Yeah. Like what's the absolute, right? But because we'll eat whatever is on the plate and we'll think that is the appropriate amount. It doesn't matter. I'm like, unless it's crazy big, we never think it's too big, especially in America, you know? And then another thing that like brought it to my attention when I went to the UK and I got like a large Diet Coke, and their large Diet Coke over there is a joke to me, right? But they're all think it's great. They all think it's large in the UK. Their large Diet Coke at McDonald's is like, I don't know, like a small over here. It's so small. And I was like, I ordered a large. Like, yeah, that's a large. They're like, you're from America? And I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, it's different here. They like knew right away. I was from my accent, I guess. But it's like the whole country doesn't think that they need more size, but us going over there now, we think that's small, right? It's all in our eye, like our eye taste buds, right? So make sure that, that's something that I realized, and it was like an aha moment for me. So cut your pie, accordingly. It's better to get up and get another one if it was really small, I would say, than to overestimate and eat the whole thing, right? Because the satiation you have is the taste. It's not the volume. Because it's weird. I'll get, like, I would say once a month, I get a donut. That's like my thing. Whenever anyone comes here, I'm like, if they have the calories to spare, I'm like, let's go get a donut together. Like one of my bikini athletes or something all right, let's go get a donut together. Because I love showing them pink box donuts. That's like my thing. I get their poo donut. It's a stupid donut. It's like all chocolate, but it's shaped as a poo emoji. It's so ridiculous. It's the best donut though. I love it. It's like a cake donut. It's great. So I get that like once a month. But if it was like half the size, I'm happy as soon as I eat it. But I see people eat these, and I'll throw away what I don't need, if I'm like, I'm good with it. But I see people, they'll just eat the whole thing, and it's so fast. They just eat the whole thing. And I'm like, did you even enjoy it? At what point would you have not, So it's one of those things that are in I guess how we're trained is like, eat the food on your plate. We're all told, eat all the food on your plate. Don't waste anything. But so the portion sizes that you pick, you're going to probably eat. So pick good portion sizes. That's going to be a big part of managing those calories. I think that's a long way of getting there, but we got there.
Oh, yes, you did. And also I want to add on to that. Whenever you are full and you realize, okay, I'm full, I don't need any more, to get rid of that taste that you want more from your taste buds. Because remember, those taste buds are like, yeah, I still want more because it's so good. But your stomach's like, no, we're good. We're good. I like to brush my teeth, floss, chew gum after. That minty taste, promise, you're not going to want turkey and gravy after you mint up your mouth. I do that all the time. I always have floss picks with me and gum. Yeah. So no matter where I'm at, after I'm finished eating, I'll clean my mouth and I will not want any other food.
Is that part of the reason why you do that? Or is it just because of hygiene mostly?
I don't know.
You are the most teeth hygienic person I've ever met in my life. It's crazy how I've known Ashley for a decade now, and I've never not seen you eat a meal without flossing your teeth. It's so crazy. I'm like, She is so like, I think dentists will give you an award at this point. It's crazy how it always makes me feel like I got a dirty mouth. Because I'm always like, I got such a like a homeless, scummy mouth compared to you. I floss twice a day, like once at night, and then brush twice a day, but it's still not enough. And I go to the dentist, I tell him when I do, like, oh, you're doing a good job. I'm like, you think I'm doing good?
I probably overdo it, to be honest. I get some erosion on my teeth, but hey.
But that's the reason a lot of it's like just
I think it's just habit. It's
habit at
not
this
even
point.
just a food thing. I don't like the feeling of food in my teeth. I hate that. Like, if like worst case scenario, for example, worst case scenario, I don't have a floss pick for whatever reason, I will take water, swish it in my mouth, and spit it out because I hate things in my mouth that are like particles.
I
Like,
guess it makes sense.
so that's why
it is a little
it isn't
gross.
really a food.
You don't go
craving
through this
thing.
experience, but every once in a while it'll be like an hour later, 2 hours later, and you'll get like a little piece of what you ate, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I ate some chicken a couple hours ago." It's a little gross, and it's been sitting in there, right? It's a little tiny piece. You don't have to have. It's a little gross when you get it, because what are you gonna do? Spit it out? Like it's gross to spit it out. It's gross to eat it. It's one of those things you just gulp it down, I guess. Ashley's like cringing. It's so gross.
That's so funny. So after your dinner is over, just remember you can freeze everything. Don't feel obligated to eat everything. You know, you're gonna get leftovers in the fridge. You can give them away or just freeze them. And that's what I do. I like to just freeze it. I'll come back to it 6 months later. I don't know. Maybe not that long, but definitely not tomorrow. That's the point of it. I don't want to continue to eat the same food I ate yesterday if it's off plan food, right? Again, depending on your own personal goals. So if you're one that's like, yeah, I want to get back on track now. I had my fun. Let's start fresh. Then hey, start your prep again. Whatever you got to do, wherever you're at in your journey, just freeze it. Don't waste food. I don't like people that waste food.
Yeah, you're a big anti-food waster. I think that's great. That's a good thing. You taught me that habit too. I remember once I had chicken that was about to go bad, and you were staying at the house, and then I came home and you had all the chicken cooked because it was like about to go bad the next day, and it was like a tray, like a big thing of chicken. And you're like, I cooked your chicken because it was about to go bad, and I was like, oh, that's really nice of you. Like this is cut off. I was like, that's like super nice of you. That was like Bachelor Adam days, right? Where like, I ate out like every meal, and then I didn't eat it. Like I ate some of it, and then there's still a lot to go. And you're like, Adam, you have chicken. It expired yesterday, so you gotta eat that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get. You're like, well, Adam, you don't want to waste it because the chicken had to die for that. I was like, that's so sweet, and I never really thought of it, but it made me rethink. You're like, a chicken had to die for that, Adam. Like you were so like it was like I was like, I better eat this chicken.
Oh, I'm sorry for making you feel
No,
bad.
I should. I just didn't really think of it at that point. But now, since then, I've always thought about that, and it's you're right. Something had to die for that. So
yeah, true.
So if you guys listening out there, you could just think of that in your head when you're wasting food. Unfortunately,
yeah, absolutely. So staying active after the dinner, you're probably gonna have still come out of it a little calorie up in calories, little abundance of calories, a little bump of calories, who knows. So it's good to take advantage of those calories, while you can. I am always a fan of just getting in a really good lift after a calorie bump like that. I prefer not to run it off because depending on the situation, it can take a long time. So I just like to get in a good workout afterwards. And, it's one of those things you just, it's not like you're expecting to make a lot of progress on that week, maybe. Not to say you can't, but most of the time I don't expect that to be the case. I call it just a neutral week, just a no progress kind of week. And I think if you think of it like that, it's a lot less daunting and a lot less to think about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're trying to have a maintenance week. It's same thing with like vacation. You're trying to have just a maintenance week. It's like, hey, it's cool if I don't make progress. 52 weeks out of the year, I'm like stuck to making progress. And even when you don't make progress and you have these calorie reloads, you can still, kind of launch that to your next week and make progress the next week too. So remember, when you're having, let's say you slip up, which a lot of you are going to slip up, and that's fine. And you're going to have, you've been dieting and you ate some food and you overdid it, whatever. The next few days, you're going to be, glycogen filled in your muscles. You're going to have great energy in the gym, and just, use that energy in the gym. Like Ashley said, do extra things, do extra sets, drop sets, things like that, and take advantage of that energy. You're going to feel great in that extra strength too. Just go for it. That's going to be the best way. I never think anyone should ever cardio it off and go crazy with that. Like, oh, I ate 1,000 calories extra. I better do, an extra hour of cardio. I don't think that's ever a good idea. So, but you working out in the gym a little harder, like with weights, go for it. Use that extra energy in the gym. That'd be a good way of going about it. So
yeah, absolutely. And just know too, like the day after, you could be up. You probably will be up a little bit. And just know that it's likely not to be fat just yet. It's probably just some things you haven't had in a while, maybe a little more glycogen, a little more sodium than you're used to. and it should be temporary. It should be, but don't get overly confident and start eating more and more because you're like, oh, I'm not up. I just had dinner yesterday and I'm actually a pound down. So I get to have more. It's because there's a lot of times can be a little bit of a delay there. So don't get overly confident and cocky about that.
Yeah. And it's just so you guys are aware too. And I've had, actually, I just did a check-in earlier today where I had a client that was up 3.2 pounds, right, in a week. And she was like, why am I up so much in weight? I've been on my diet. And then I was like, it's just one of these like natural fluctuations that happen. I explained it. I was like, the calories that you ate could never equal 3 pounds of body fat.
Right.
Like, it's just not, if you're eating these calories, it's not possible for it. Like, so if you're up in weight the next day, it's probably because, maybe you've eaten some gluten you haven't in a while, the sodium, like Ashley said, maybe you just haven't digested all that food because you ate it late last night. Maybe your digestion's a little messed up because you ate foods that you haven't been eating. So it's going to take a few days to kind of process it all through, that type of thing. Because to gain like let's say in this example, 3 pounds, you would need to eat 10,500 calories to gain 3 pounds. And that's 10,500 calories in excess of her maintenance calories. So if she was burning, let's say 2,000 calories, that means that week, if she's eating 2,000 calories a day, that's 14,000. That means she would need to eat 24,500 calories that week to do that and gain all body fat. So it's just, that's so much food. Like, there's just no possible way she accidentally ate. I think that breaks down to 3,500 calories a day versus something like that. 3,500 calories a day versus 2,000, like overdid it by double. There's no way that happens. So you're going to have these natural fluctuations. Don't let them mess with you. It sucks, but give it a week, wait till you get your body normalized, take some things to help you with your digestion. If that's an issue, get in a sauna a couple of times and get some water moving, make sure you're staying hydrated, and then next week maybe you'll have, a lot of times I'll get check-ins that are kind of a lost week of data. Like you just, like a week like that. The problem is I can't really use that check-in either. I'm not like, it's not a great check-in for data collection. So we kind of just keep things the same when it's like that and then just see what happens the next week. But whatever, you lost a week, but you had a good fun experience with the family and whatnot. So just be aware, you will have those fluctuations, but don't freak out. The amount of calories you need to eat to gain that much body fat is pretty significant.
Yeah. So as long as you just get back on track, you really shouldn't have that much to worry about. As long as you're not competing in the very near future, you should be fine. So do not stress. We are not one of those people that's like, super strict about these types of things. We need to relax every once in a while, within reason though, within reason.
Yeah. So, and if you guys have questions, please bring them in on the question. But I think that is doing pretty good. Our producer Ashley here did a good layout for us. And I think here's going to be one of the bigger ones is the alcohol. I think that's where people will struggle a little bit because this one is a tough one. We talked about that, I think, a couple podcasts ago, where that one's a tough one to manage. But the best way of managing it is going to be, if you want to drink and you have to drink, that's your family thing. Hey, I understand. Vodka and Diet Coke tend to be one of the better options. It's I think it's 70 calories an ounce or 7 calories a shot. If that's the route you want to travel versus, doing things all day. So I'm not a drinker, so I'm a hard time. Like you've have a little bit more experience, even though you haven't drank for a while either.
Yeah, but, there's options out there. There's no such thing as 0 calorie alcohol though. So don't let that marketing get to you because there's like fit alcohol and stuff out there now. It's not.
Because I saw protein alcohol the other day.
Oh Lord,
they're going for it.
What the heck? That doesn't even sound good.
I mean, marketing. Someone's trying it.
They had these sugar-free diet Mountain Dews with alcohol in it too.
Really?
They make these like drinks, these mixed drinks that are sugar-free. Now you can get them at the grocery store. But if you're at the bar, a dry wine or a rum Diet Coke or a flavored vodka or a soda water with it. And another option is just plain vodka water. And you put a squirt of Mio in there, lemon, Mio, stevia, whatever you got to do. So that doesn't mean you don't have to completely not drink, but obviously limit it. But here's where it gets tricky is like, if you drink the alcohol, it's also going to make your other decisions not as good, maybe. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it does. It does lead, right? I've been drinking so long that I don't even know. It's my 21st birthday. That was the last time.
There was you had like a drink that one time at the Sugar Factory like 5 years ago.
Did I? Was it a sip? Was it a sip?
It was like in 2019 or something.
Oh, after the Olympia, did
I don't know. It was like a sip. I think.
Oh, I tried a taste of your thing.
Yeah,
it was a taste. Yeah, a taste of it.
taste.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to get in that. That it's kind of one of those things like, I wonder what it would feel like now. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't even remember the mindset. That'd be kind of funny to try it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that'd be funny. We'll do it one day, Ashley. We'll do drunk Adam. We'll see what happens. What if I'm like a crazy guy?
Christmas coming up.
What if I'm a crazy guy? What if I'm one of those? It's so I'm so
like,
controlled that it'd be so weird for me to leave that frame. Like I'm just so.
You just
controlled.
turned into like this like professional dancer, and you went to the club and just started breakdancing in the middle of the floor.
I'm so
like
social.
Turned into a different.
You have to dance off. Like a movie dance off.
Yeah.
Drunk Adam's crazy. Let's not fight. If I'm having dance offs, maybe maybe drunk Adam's a good thing. Let's go. We should go for that. So, all right. So going into setting boundaries, I think is a good one too. Going into the day with a little bit of a plan. Okay, I'm gonna have one piece of pie, etc. That type of thing. Going into it and just having your own, hey, this is my limit here. And then of course other boundaries too.
Yeah.
Like with family and whatnot.
Absolutely. Yeah. It can be tough because, moms can be pushy. They want you to have like 2 helpings of those mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Because she worked hard. She didn't want to go with, mashed potatoes. They're good. She wants you to have your mashed potatoes. Okay. So you got to tell your mom like, hey, mom, I have some goals. I just want to make sure I'm sticking with them. So I'm probably not going to have I'm not extremely hungry today. I'm not going to have a huge plate, but I'm going to enjoy every little morsel on this one. So yeah, you got to be strict with those boundaries too. Cause if you don't, it can get you, it can wear you down. So you have to be trained just to be like, nope, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Without hesitation. Because the minute you hesitate, you're opening the door.
It doesn't take
to mashed potatoes.
Yes. Smash of an avalanche of mashed potatoes. It doesn't take too much for your family to like get the hang of it. Cause like my upbringing, so my grandpa, he never spoke English and I didn't speak full Spanish. So I never really talked to him. And the only thing he would tell me is come, which just means eat and come, eat. And so, that's all like a few of the words I understood from him at that age when I was younger. And, but as soon as he learned and my family explained to him, hey, this is bodybuilding thing. Like he would say, I would say, oh, I can't. He's like, okay. That was like how we communicate. But that's like, I think it's different, like with older generations too, but it doesn't take them, even if my family can get the hang of it, when that's like just tradition, anyone's family can get the hang of it, understand. But you just have to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And then they get it. Like it takes, a couple times eating dinner with them for them to like really get it. Oh, okay. It's different for him, so, and then they start getting, they make me food. And I think that example is great because it's literally no, in my family, no understanding or, of anything nutritional. I mean, it's a really old school family. So like there was nothing nutritional with their upbringing. It was just eat to eat, eat, whatever it is. And then when I was even 15 already, 14, they were already changing for me for that. So it was cool. They learned about it through bodybuilding, which is kind of cool. They learned that through me, through bodybuilding, which was, it didn't take much. Adam eats large portion sizes. He eats lettuce and veggies that don't have any butter on them. And then he eats the rice, not the Mexican rice, the white rice, like, so it's like, it didn't take more than a couple of things for them to just always have that for me. So if they could do it, anyone could do it.
Yeah. A few adjustments. And there's a lot you can do with like recipes and stuff. And that's like within reason, because I'm not saying like, oh, you're the only one prepping for a competition, so everyone else has to suffer with your butterless potatoes. Like, but I do think like at some point we can be a little more, stingy with the oils. I think sometimes recipes call for an abundance, and this is, I guess, at your own risk. If you've tried this recipe before, and you know how it works, maybe you can do a little less of those things. Just, there's ways to work around it. And if you're a really good cook and you're into that, there's so many modifications you can do for recipes. You can swap out potatoes for cauliflower for some recipes. You can use like a a fiber rich flour instead of a white flour. There's so much you can do to make a recipe healthier. But again, that is dependent on who is eating with you. You know, like I said, don't make everyone else suffer if
Yeah.
it's just you, and just knowing like their own taste buds. Like I think if I cooked my family like a healthier dinner, they would like it. Maybe others wouldn't though. So that's a personal thing.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, see, that's the thing. There's a lot of times people eat healthy and they don't even realize they're eating healthy though too. You know, like if you have a steak and you choose a, you know, like a sirloin or a top round steak, that's like the same level of fat or close to the same level of fat as a chicken breast, you know? And so they'll eat the steak thinking, oh, this is a great, you know, it's a good steak, medium rare, whatever. It's, you know, it's not a, you know, a New York steak, but it's a good steak. And little they know, hey, you're eating pretty much grilled chicken breast here, you know, like, or even grilled chicken breast by itself, seasoned right, you know, who doesn't eat grilled chicken breast, you know? So a lot of times people don't even realize, hey, I'm actually eating healthy. So just, you know, if you have an option of, and you're cooking, like do it healthy, but do it in a way where they don't feel like it's healthy, you know? Things like you know, you don't want to do your tilapia and asparagus dinners, but like chicken or a lean steak, do the potatoes like Ashley said, but maybe with just a potato, like baked potatoes versus mashed potatoes. And then everyone has a potato and they can do whatever they want. They bring all the sides for them. That way everyone has their options. And they don't even realize that they're, you know, hey, this is pretty healthy actually, you know, have your biscuits without a bunch of butter. So
yeah. Absolutely. So have you guys ever heard of the 80-20 rule? Like, have you?
I could put it together, but I don't know if I've heard it as well. Let's see how you define it. Maybe.
So the 80-20 rule, in my opinion, is like 80% like on track, 20% of freedom, kind of, or whatever you want. That's kind of how I see it as. But it's, you know, it's like a rule of thumb. It's not, there's no way to actually measure this out. It's a rule of thumb. But if you have like a week where you're just like home for the holidays and you don't want to be super strict, 80-20, just think of like, okay, 80% I'm good, 20% indulgent. So, you know, you do the math with that.
Yeah, it's actually like it's funny. The Rock has a similar thing. Yeah,
I think it's like a very common rule though.
He does he did when I was personal training back in the day. He did. I didn't know this because it was like one of the funnier things I had with one of my clients. I used to always, me and my clients just like joke with each other, especially like the guy ones. And one of my clients came in, he goes, you know, I was reading this article about The Rock and he eats really clean 6 days a week. And then on Sunday, he has pizza usually every Sunday. And he does this thing on Sunday where he just kind of does whatever he wants. So I was thinking, I was like, well, as soon as you look like The Rock, we could talk about it. It was funny. He's like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, but that's exactly the same kind of thing. It was the funniest thing. It was in front of the other trainers and we were like joking with each other. Rob was his name. And that was one of the ones I remember, but he does, I guess that's what he did. I don't know if he still does it, but yeah, kind of, you know, 6 days on, 1 day off type of scenario. So
absolutely. Yeah. So I think in general, it's good just to track your progress in the next few weeks or so leading up and then after, but you should be doing that anyway. Basically what I'm trying to say is just keep consistent doing what you're doing. Don't let the holidays let you fall off, because how many times do we see people just not checking in around the holidays? That's not good. That's not good. We just need consistency. We need to stay on track. Whatever happened, hey, skipping your check-in is not going to help whatever you did. It's only going to help you. So it's a little bit of a harsh truth. Sometimes people are a little like ashamed of it, and they shouldn't be. You know, holidays gets some people more than others, but also some people are a little more sensitive with water retention than others as well. So just keep doing what you're doing. Get back on track. Don't stress out. What happened already happened. Move on. Okay. We got to start fresh. We can't be falling in this pit of just worse and worse and negativity, right? You got to get out of it. So that's a bad thing about the holidays. Sometimes it's a whole bunch of joyful cheer moments and you're with your friends and family. Everyone's happy. And then after, you know, sometimes it's hard for people to turn that off, to turn off those cravings, because some people, once they have the taste of the good stuff, they want more and more and more and more, and they can't stop. So all this to say, just get back on track. Don't skip your check-ins just because Christmas happened 4 days ago. Let's get back on it, because if we don't, we might just spiral. And like I said, a lot of times we don't realize how much weight we're accumulating because sometimes it's not as instant as we would think for it to be.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too you got to think about, because the problem with this holiday in particular is that the timing of it is so close to the next holiday. So when people, like how you said, they'll eat the same foods the next few days. So you have Christmas Eve is where it starts for a lot of people, and then you'll have Christmas Day and you have your dinners there, and then you have your leftovers, and then it's like, I don't want to cook, it's Christmas weekend, let's go out to dinner, right? So you have, because Christmas on Wednesday, so you have Friday, Saturday, you'll have your Christmas, you'll have, okay, let's go to another dinner on Saturday.
Yes.
And then you have your January 1st drinks, right? And so it accumulates. And then the next thing you're like, well, I don't want to really look at the scale right now because I just had this.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, well, there's no way I can be ready for that May show. Now I might as well I'll just wait till next year. So
yeah, it accumulates. So do think about the, and it's a kind of a, not the best. Some people will say psychologically, it's probably not the best way of thinking of it, of thinking about the aftermath of it, but you do have to think about the aftermath, because the problem isn't when you have a cheat meal that it's such a bad thing and you should beat yourself up for it or anything like that. But the problem that we have to look at is, okay, if you lose a week of progress, that's not a problem. I really don't mind if you lose a week of progress here and there, that's fine. But what the cost of it is, okay, that one day cost me 1 week of progress is what everyone will think. That one day I went over, so it kind of messed my week up. Well, no, because the next week you have to now use that week to get back to where you were before the week that started. So that one day will cost you, those 2 weeks. So now you're wasting this week. But if you go overboard and do it for a few days, well, now we might be talking a full month just to get back to where you were before you went a little crazy. So some people, it could be 2 months, so just think of the time value. And this is a lot of the ways that you think is that, oh, this tastes good, but it's not worth, 6 hours of cardio, good. And so, I don't want to mess you up mentally where every food you look at is like a cardio equation, but it is like,
this one's a 5 reps.
Yeah, I would eat anything. I'll be like, I hate cardio. I'm gonna just not eat. But when you look at it, okay, how much time am I willing to reverse or regress where it's worth this? And there is a certain amount of time that is worth it. If Christmas dinner with your family is worth a week, go for it. I think that's fine. But when we start getting into that 1 month, 2 month time frame where now we're just trying to get back to where you were before the holidays, and it takes 2 months to get there, I think that's a little bit not a good value for the taste and the experience. I think one thing that I think that people don't realize is the experience doesn't change much at all, even if you ate cleaner. I think that's what people, when they finally start eating clean around the holidays, they realize, oh, the experience was really the same. Like, it wasn't the food so much. In like my culture, tamales is like a big thing on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. But I'll eat one, with them. And it's like, I get experience, or maybe 2, and they'll make it a little bit meatier for me than the norm, So like, I still don't really feel like I missed out on anything. I still feel like I was with the family. We're all making tamales in the kitchen and we're all, doing our thing. And I just didn't really feel like I missed out on things. And I think that that's where people have a disconnect, is that they feel like if they're not eating what everyone's eating, they just miss Christmas entirely.
Right.
Like they just didn't go. I'm like, no, everything still happened and you just ate a little bit of different food. So try to find that appropriate connection for you. Everyone culturally will probably be different, of course, too. Mine is, got to have one of the tamales to feel like it was there. I understand that. So, it's just one of those things. And, but it's something you gotta kind of force yourself to make that adaptation for fitness being as a priority. It's a weird sport that we do because our sport, as I've said, our sport is the diet. Like our sport is the diet. Everyone can work out. I'm not impressed with you working out 6 days a week. Everyone does that. Even people who don't care about their physique, they'll work out 5 days a week. They just want to stay healthy. That's the easy thing. Everyone does that. The dieting is the sport. So, it's a tough sport you guys picked. And so these things are some of the sacrifices you will have to make. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't find what works best for you, but it is part of it, guys. There's no way of getting away from it,
Right. It's the experience as a whole. And I don't think that eating a little bit less should affect your happiness or experience at all. Like, it really shouldn't. And if it does, there is an issue with that, right? No one's saying, hey, you got to eat like super clean and only 800 calories on this day, unless like you're in a super specific situation. We're not talking about you. Like, we're saying you just need to eat a little bit less and get back on track after. So don't ever think that it's that Christmas or the holidays need to be like one of those days where you have to be so on it. And we can let go a little bit. Don't feel like you are being a bad athlete by just enjoying a little bit. We need to reset a little bit, recharge a little bit, but within reason.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we're asking. Within reason, please.
You know what? One thing, I'll going back, I did forget to mention one other method too, and I want to make sure to get it out there. And so one of the things important too is you got to be, I really want, especially if you're one of my athletes, I want you guys to be honest with me in your check-ins too, and tell me, hey, I do want to have X, one of those things I mentioned. But one of the ones I didn't mention was also like a calorie bank for the day too.
Yeah.
Like maybe you could go into the day saying, okay, I have 1,500 extra calories to eat this day, and I'm going to enjoy it with whatever additional foods past my menu plan macros that I'll eat with whatever, right? So that's another option too. But be honest with your coach about it, and then stay with that. That's the important thing. Your coach will be able to tell you, okay, I think we can afford 2,000, we can afford whatever, and then just stay with that. And you're going to feel great when you hit that thing. It's like a game. I mean, I remember Tori, we did it with Tori, and she would like pick all these little things. She was like the hardest because she was like, the investment of calories has to be worth it in this, but she did all these little things that like equaled out the calories. It was funny watching her try to order at a restaurant with those like calorie parameters, but it's one of those things you can have fun with too. So yeah, so it doesn't need to be, like we said, it doesn't need to be crazy hardcore, but find what works for you and that you could stick to. Because I find that when you force yourself to do something that is out of your comfort zone, usually you do worse. I find if someone's like, hey, I am just going to eat super clean, like those are the ones, and they're like struggling with it, those are the ones that end up just giving in, and they just don't count any of the calories. And they're just like, I just messed up. I have no idea how many calories I ate,
Yeah.
So,
do you want to know a cool scenario that I've done in the past that is really helpful? And I don't think too many people would want to do it, but for those crazy ones out there like me, listen up. So I like, for example, Thanksgiving turkey trot. They have turkey trots. They have Christmas Day races, Christmas Eve races, New Year's Day races. Those are cool. You know why? Listen, you wake up early in the morning, everyone's all dressed up like in their Santa outfit. They do their race, everyone's having a good time. It's like, no stress. You burn a lot of calories before most people are even awake, and then you have the rest of the day and you're like, wow, I burned so many calories already. I'm ahead of the game. Shoot, I have extra freedom today. So whatever, helps you mentally to have less guilt on that day, which you shouldn't, as long as you get back on track and keep it reasonable. But yeah, I've done that in the past, and I'll do one for New Year's probably. But yeah, those are fun. I don't think many people would want to do that though. They have like 5Ks, 10Ks, all that.
Yeah. Yeah, look it up. How do you look that up on your area? Just 5K.
I searched 10K Las Vegas, and they have like a few sites that will have them listed, 5Ks, 10Ks, whatever you're looking for. But they're fun, and they're, you don't even realize you're burning calories. You're getting a good workout before the day even starts.
Yeah, it could be like a fun family tradition. People do use it as a family tradition.
Yeah, it's usually for charity too, so it's good.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, cool. Well, I guess with that, any more tips? Are we good on that?
I think we're good. And welcome to the team, Black Pearl 90. Welcome to the team.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Any other tips you can give people, leave it in the comments, and we will talk to you next time. Oh, and happy holiday.